few days ago, I brought about 30 upcoming producers out to 2 Atlanta mansions to cook up with multi-platinum producers, as well as make songs with huge artists like Lil Got It and Doughboy. And it was insane. We had producers who worked with Drake, Kanye West, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Future, Lil Baby, Travis Scott, Playboi Carti, Yeet, and so many more all pull up to collab with all of the up-and-coming producers. And we helped about 30 producers land their first major placements with artists like Lil Got It and Doughboy, but more on that later. It was a crazy week, but before we get into all that good stuff, let me explain the concept of this week. So essentially, the idea behind these camps that I've been running is that we bring a bunch of up-and-coming producers from all over the world into a house together in one of the major cities like LA, Atlanta, Miami, and then I invite all of my big connections, whether that's artists, A&Rs, producers, engineers, everyone I know in the music industry in that city. I invite them out there and we essentially just cook up, network, and vibe in a mansion for about a week. I've done 3 camps like this before, one in LA, one in Miami, and one in Atlanta, and all of them were amazing experiences. But with this one, we really wanted to level it up. The past couple ones, I've just been running them solo, but this time I partnered up with my boy Drew Adu, who had a bunch of ideas on how we could level this up, because in the past, it's mostly just been producers pulling up. But we've always thought it would be super fire if we get it to the point where we could have major artists coming through and actually recording on these up-and-coming producers' beats live in person right in front of them. So we organized with Doughboy, who's a super fire artist with free bands, Lil Got It, YTB Fat, Dizzy Wright, and a bunch of other fire people for them to all pull up during the camp and get some records in. And my big goal was to get everyone who came to the camp their first placement, but more on that later on in the video. To level it up even more, we booked 2 mansions this time, so instead of just having one mansion like I have in the past, we had one house, this crazy ultra modern house that's personally my favorite, and then the second house we had this crazy old money looking house. It looks like the White House, and that one felt presidential as fuck when you pull up on the driveway on that one. Anyways, once we had these houses booked, the roster filled for the camp, and everything was set up, the day came and it was finally time to get the camp going. This time around at the camp, we booked a house a day early, so me and the rest of the staff just pulled up so that we could set everything up. Because like I said, we really wanted this one to be leveled up from previous camps. This time, we actually bought a bunch of studio equipment, Yamaha HS8s, MIDIs, interfaces, all this kind of stuff so that we could have fire setups throughout all the houses that are kind of semi-professional. And one of the best parts of these setups were the analog synths. Shout out my boy Houston, who lended us all of these synths. We had Moog synths, Roland Jupiters. The Roland Super 8 was actually super fire, really surprised me. But having all those like 10 plus synths take a while to set up, to get all the wiring right, set up all these tables, rearrange stuff in the house, and all that kind of stuff to make studio setups. So me, Drew, his friend Marlon, and my boys Jan and Fly Dutch, who were also doing videos and photos of the whole event, all came through a day early, and we were just setting up the whole entire house, trying to get it ready for the next day when the camp officially started. It's always super inspiring just being in these super crazy houses, thinking that maybe, you know, one day we can build up to that for ourselves. To start off the camp, we had everyone pull up at 12 p.m. to officially get things going. Like I said earlier, people flew in from all over the world. We had people from Taiwan, Germany, Hungary, Canada. So this first day, we normally like to keep it relatively chill and just let everyone who's actually coming to every day of the camp just kind of get to know each other a little bit better. And one of the best things that I like to do to break the ice is do some sort of pass the aux event where I just let everyone play 3 of their favorite beats or loops or whatever they make, just so everyone can show off their stuff and get a better vibe for what everyone's sound is. Once everyone got to play some of their beats, I started inviting a few big producer friends of mine and some other industry guys over to the house. First being my boy Cloud, who's worked with people like Yeet, Kodak Black, Destroy Lonely, Nardo Wick, and a ton of other people. My boy Young Dave Bangin, who works a ton with Tory Lanez. He actually has been featured on this channel if y'all have seen the video where I talked about how I got Tory Lanez to rap on my beat. So given the fact that he has to live with sickle cell, it was super amazing that he was able to fly out from Canada and come down here for this camp. Next up, I have my boy Dub the Prodigy pull up, who's Boss Mandilo's engineer and producer, and he's also worked with legends like X. We have my boy Leo Sun come through, who's Joyner Lucas's main producer. Then we have my boy Baragini pull up, which if you haven't seen him on Reels or TikTok, I feel like you're not on Instagram or TikTok. And he's also done songs with people like NBA Youngboy and some other dope placements. We also have my boy Ivan pull up, who does those TikTok videos where you see him asking big engineers their mixing chains for so-and-so artist. My boy Cutta Beats also pulled up, who's got credits with people like Young Thug, Offset, Lotto, Lil Baby, Gucci Mane, Key Glock, and a bunch of other people. My boy Ty H also pulled up, who actually produced with me on this album right here, on this song right here, Letter to My Brother. And that was my first time actually meeting him in person, so it was super dope to actually get to meet him face to face. My boy Whoop pulled up, who's actually the A&R over at Publishing on BeatStars. So he came through, chopped it up with everyone, and I'll talk more about BeatStars and BeatStars Publishing later. Shout out to them for helping sponsor this event. Last but not least though, I have my boy Houston pull up, which as I mentioned earlier, he lended us all the synths for this weekend. He works a lot with companies like Ableton, Air Music, so Expand, all those kind of plugins. And he even helped build one of the most legendary studios in Atlanta, which I'll talk about more later as well. But anyways, once everyone was in the house, I kind of gathered everyone in one place and told everyone to cook up for the sessions that we had in the next 2 days, Doughboy and Lil Got It. And this is where I want to tell you guys about the game plan. Our game plan with this camp was to get major artists to come in and to be able to drop the songs that they make at our camp and put as many producers as humanly possible on each beat to try to get everyone their first placement. So contrary to how you would normally cook up, where you're trying to like limit the amount of people that are on each beat, I told them to have as many people collaborate together as possible. And I gotta say, these beats were coming out crazy. Out of all the camps that I've run, I think that these beats are definitely my favorite. There were so many people who were crazy playing the keys, and when we had those synths out, everyone was just going crazy. So I'll play some of that footage right now.
What DW you use?
Oh, what I use GarageBand. Now I'm fucking with you. I need my girl and my dog. Oh God.
We closed up shop at around 2 to 3 in the morning and got ready for the next day when we were going to have Doughboy come to record, and I was going to invite a ton of big industry guests to come as well. Today was going to be a crazy day at the camp. We had Doughboy pulling up at night, and I just know naturally whenever a big artist comes, everyone is going to want to go where the big artist is. If you don't know Doughboy already, he's signed to Free Bands, which is Future's label. He's got a bunch of crazy songs like 100 Shooters with Future and Meek Mill. One of my favorites is Bussin' with Lil Uzi Vert and Southside, and one of his biggest solo songs is 3 a.m. in LA. So during the day, we just had everyone cooking up for that session, and while everyone was cooking up, me and Drew started texting every big name, every producer, engineer, whatever it was in Atlanta to try to pull up to the event. And we had a ton of people come through. Almost all the guys who came that first night pulled back up. We also had my boy Concept P, who's worked with Future, Moneybagg Yo, 6ix9ine, Tory Lanez, and a bunch of other fire people. My boy K6, who's always the life of the party at these camps. He's been at the last 3 camps I've run, and every time he brings the energy and a 24-pack of Miller Lite. But he's got credits with people like Skilla Baby, T Grizzly, and pretty much every Atlanta rapper that you could think of. My boy Jose also came through, who's got big songs with people like NLE Choppa, Tusi, T Grizzly, and a bunch of other people. My boy Sebastian came through, who actually just produced this crazy new Drake snippet. My boy Dante Made It also pulled up, and he's done a ton of stuff with Florida rappers like Bossman D-Lo, artists like V's, and all those guys. My boy A Shark pulled up, who recently just did a song on NBA Youngboy's album with Playboy Cardi. We had Priority Beats pull up as well, who's worked with Lil Baby, Polo G, NBA Youngboy, Gunna. My boy David Morse pulled up, who's got songs with Lil Durk, Lil Baby, No Cap, King Von, Moneybagg Yo, and a bunch of other big names. My boy 3L The God pulled up, who's got songs with Lil Baby and a bunch of other fire artists. Evan Moitoso pulled up, who's got songs with Destroy Lonely, Ken Carson, Baby Kia, and a bunch of other artists. My boy YDL pulled up, who's got songs with Young Thug, Busta Rhymes, Mexican OT, YTB Fat, NLE Choppa, and more. And ATL Rainey also pulled up, so they all got busy cooking up with all the up-and-coming producers that came to the camp. at around 9 to 10 p.m., Doughboy pulled up. And it was time to get to work making some records. So we had set up a little recording setup with my boy Dub the Prodigy, who's Boss Mandilo's engineer, like I mentioned earlier. Shout out Dub, he really came through because I didn't even think of it that we needed an engineer to record these sessions, but he's a producer and an engineer, so it worked out perfectly. But essentially, the way that I wanted to run this session, I had told everyone to send all the beats that they had been cooking up the past day or so in the camp to me so that I could play everyone's beats off of my laptop because I wanted to give everyone at the camp a fair shot to have their stuff played. And honestly, I feel like we made like a 20 pack of beats, and I feel like Doughboy went through and saved almost every single one of the beats, maybe like 2 or 3 that he didn't take.
See, this is gonna be hard because I like all that shit from her.
One of the standout producers, especially for this Doughboy dark trap kind of sound, was my boy Project 6. And before Doughboy pulled up, he actually came to me personally and just asked to make sure that he could sit at the Doughboy session because one of the main reasons that he came to the camp was specifically to work with Doughboy because he's a big fan of him as an artist. And lucky enough, Doughboy really fucked with those beats and asked who had made them, and I was able to directly link them together and help him get Doughboy's number, as you can see right here.
What's your name, bro?
Project 6.
I think one of the coolest parts of these camps, at least for me, is the feeling I get whenever I help someone connect with a big producer or a big artist that they've been wanting to work with. So always throughout these camps, I'm trying to throw people layups because seeing people hit it off and go off and make a bunch of crazy stuff together is just a really cool feeling. But anyways, after I went through and played all those beats, we saved all the ones that Doughboy liked, and I airdropped them to Dub's computer so that Doughboy could go in and start recording. And as soon as Pro Tools was open, he went crazy.
All the baddies for me, cause they know I'm coming peep. Then they know I'm coming Trump, cause they know I'm really him. How about one time? Cause they know I'm coming Trump. Left his Hellcat parked and now his car gone. I'm a fucking fiend. I'm trying to see you sell our peas. Go, y'all go home. Fuck up with the car bomb. Come on, daddy, car song. Left his Hellcat parked and now his car gone. Now y'all niggas dealing with this drill some shit. Starving for a body, trying to eat just like a pilgrim, bitch. Fuck with me is benefits. Baby, take this pill, get lit. Get my jewelry cold, but come my area, niggas still get zipped. Mama told me go to school, but I'm ready to run straight. All the baddies fuck me, cause they know I'm coming peace. Cause they know I'm coming trap. Bitches know I'm really happy. So the baby coming on, like my heart coming through.
After he recorded that first song, we all chilled outside, took some pictures in front of the crazy house, and then he ended up recording 2 more songs. So we did 3 songs that night with Doughboy in total. And on most of these beats, we already had a decent amount of people from the camp on these beats. But like I said earlier, our plan was to get a ridiculous amount of producers on each song and make sure that they release so that we get a bunch of producers their first major placement. So the plan was, once the artist sessions had kind of chilled out a little bit, in later days we would go in and do post-production, and everyone who wasn't on the original beat could go into the FLP and start changing stuff around. After he recorded those 2 songs, we all just went upstairs and started vibing to a bunch of unreleased crazy songs that he was playing us, which you can see here.
Hopping on them tracks, act like I ain't clap my extension. Find out my nigga was snitches, gonna need way more than some stitches. I'm part all on my sleeve, man, nigga, that's how I hit it. Bass and riches, glad we made it out of the damn kitchen. Swear they take a flip-flops at the Benz lots. Niggas tryna get hot, bitch, I been hot. Cause it black and hands, send shots, too bad I didn't die. Suit up, take this Ricky off, bitch, I been fly. Before he start dropping no disses, used to like a nigga. Working on my, I pay so much accidentally like a picture. Broke ass beef and know you won't, you hate. I get to it with you. Rich don't gotta pull a trigger, I let my baby do is get you. Ohio State, I'm sipping red before like Jeremiah. He had that energy before, so why you dissing now? Tried to call this bitch ass in the studio, then he kicked him out. Went up on his whip, and I spazzed out. Hit him in his shit, he skirted off. He ain't no crash house.
What I say? You understand, man? I'm good.
Other than that, we really just kept vibing and cooking up all night. Everyone was networking. There was so many big name producers all in one space that night, so everyone was just kind of dapping each other up, networking, cooking up, and chilling. And before Doughboy left, he actually gave his number to a bunch of the producers who came to the camp, and we ended up closing up again at 2 or 3 in the morning. Real quick, before we get into the third day of this camp where we have Lil Got It pull up and record records as well, I wanted to mention how many people had come up to me during the camp and told me how good drum mastery was. I promise, I mean, I am doing this as a promo, but I'm not just doing this to promote it. So many producers, either big industry producers or the people that came to the camp, everyone was hyping up drum mastery. Whoever didn't have it on their laptop, it felt like they were missing some industry standard drum kit. So we were cooking up on the laptops that had drum mastery because the sounds are just so good. Everyone, even the huge industry producers who I showed the kit to in person, were mind blown when they actually seen how crazy this kit is. I feel like it's easy to just write off drum kits as any other drum kit. So real quick, the first 30 people to use the code PALACE at checkout will get 50% off of drum mastery. I'll have the first link in the description down below to drum mastery. And reminder, use that code PALACE, 50% off. Only the first 30 people will get it, so it might sell out in like a day or two. But anyways, back into day 3. For day 3, we had pretty much the same exact vibe as day 2 going. Wake up, cook up beats for the session at night with Lil Got It, and invite over a bunch of industry guys again. And this day, almost all the same guys who pulled up the night before came back again, but we had a few new guys pull up as well. Twisted Genius, who did Something to Prove by Lil Baby, as well as Emotionally Scarred by Lil Baby, 2 of my favorite Lil Baby songs. And I've been wanting to meet bro for a minute, so it was super dope to actually tap in with him in person. He does a bunch of crazy beat battles in Atlanta, similar kind of events to what I'm doing, so it was good to just tap in, talk about that kind of stuff with him. And then my boy Dylan Graham pulled back up. He came to my last Atlanta camp, but he is by far my favorite melody maker when it comes to this R&B stuff. Insane credits, like hours and hours of my money long. He did the melody on I Like by Tory Lanez, Just Us by Jack Harlow and Doja Cat, and a ton of other crazy R&B stuff, but his R&B stuff is just chef's kiss. But anyways, once everyone was in the house, we all started cooking up beats for Lil Got It, and we made sure to use all those analog synths and try to jam as many producers on the beats as possible, and we were cooking up some shit. Enough time.
That's beautiful, man. I fuck with that.
You gotta move quick, bro. You gotta be on crack.
I can't freestyle.
He's shy.
He's shy.
And at around 6 p.m., Lil Got It pulled up.
Pick my phone.
Hell yeah, for sure, bro.
And one thing that I mentioned this night and actually the last night with Doughboy is that one of the best ways to get an artist to choose your beat is just to be cooking up in a separate room, or cooking up when they walk in, blasting it on the speakers, making something that you know that they will like, organically letting them walk in on you making something rather than forcing yourself on them. Like, yo, can I play you beats, bro? Can I play you beats, bro? I noticed at the session the last night with Doughboy, we had recorded 2 records and I thought he was going to tap out and, you know, that was going to be it. And we were just vibing, walked around the house, chilling. And then we came back down and my boy Drew, who I was running the camp with, was playing this crazy beat that we didn't hear Doughboy on at all. And Doughboy just walked down there to start recording again. That beat was playing and that was the one that he wanted to go on. The same exact thing happened with Lil Got It. As soon as he pulled up, I started walking him around the house, just showing him around the mansion and all that kind of stuff. And he just walked in on one of the setups where we were cooking up the beat that he ended up actually rapping on in a second. So it just kind of reinforced the lesson in my head that not forcing stuff in events like this is super crucial. So Dub pulled that up on Pro Tools and got it knocked out a hit in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, 10 hoes, no. PG on my body. 13, these hoes gon' go. Yeah. Just put them in a row. They cut in there. Yeah, that's the truck. The fuck is you doing? You little nigga know what's up. Back on my bullshit. You little nigga know what's up. Yeah. Everybody's driving the service. I hop out with cutters and shred. Yeah. I ride with some fresh as a bitch and everybody's, yeah. How was that to pan my rims? Fresh out to pan my rims. For y'all to roll on rims. For y'all to gold rims. It's time to some killers. I'm spanking, don't give her no whippers. Daddy, cut it out. Try to push, we really went up and fuck around shoulders. They still in the lingo, PG on my body. 13, these boys gon' blow. About to turn the she thought I was slow. My jewelry, he know where I'm go. And I'm tripping, these diamonds is cold. They play, we slip to the bone. Yeah, let's go. Who can change my clothes? PG on my body. 13, these boys gon' blow. About to turn the she thought I was slow. My jewelry, he know where I'm go. And I'm tripping, these diamonds is cold. And by the way, that song should be dropping soon. Both the Doughboy and Got It records should be dropping, so keep an eye out for that. But anyways, while Got It was actually recording the song, my boy Young Dave Bangin came up to me and told me some super good news. One of the beats that we had just made together the day before had just gotten placed with Tory Lanez, with one of the producers who came to the camp, Chasing Hayes. He brought both me and her together and gave us the good news, and it was her first big placement, or first big time that a major artist had recorded to her beat. And then already the next day, Tory Lanez had already recorded to it. And seeing the look on people's faces whenever they get their first big opportunity or first big rapper on their stuff is always a super cool feeling. So I'm really hoping that that one drops, because I feel like that would be a crazy story to tell more in depth. But even if it doesn't drop, it was a cool moment. Anyways, since Got It came early and knocked out that record like light work, we really had the whole rest of the night to just cook up and network with all the big producers that were in the house. So we all headed back over to the Modern House and vibed out for the rest of the night. And Doughboy actually ended up pulling up to the Modern House later that night as well. And to be honest, I don't think I even made any more music the rest of this night. I was really just having some beers, talking to people, and having a good time. And honestly, sometimes at these kind of events, that is the most important thing that you can do. I would rather leave this camp with 100 new phone numbers and 100 new friends than leave with 100 new beats that I made. There is no way that I would fly all across the world and sit locked in just making beats just like I would at home when all these big people are walking around the house, that I could change my life by meeting the right person. But anyways, after some conversations, maybe a few too many drinks and some networking, we called it a night at around the same time. So now let's go on to day 4. Since we didn't have any planned artist sessions today, it was supposed to be more chill, which it did not end up being more chill. There ended up being multiple artists that pulled up to record, but the plan for the day was to work on the post-production for these Got It and Doughboy records. And just to reiterate, our plan was to get like 15 or so producers on each beat, because there was about 30 producers that came to the camp. I wanted to get everyone on at least one song so that we could get everyone who came to the camp their first major placement, which we almost got every single person on it, which is super dope. And I gotta say, post-production is super fun. As a loop maker first, I don't really get to do post-production too often, but I feel like more rappers should embrace trusting the producers to build out the track once it's already done, because I feel like that's why artists like Travis Scott, Kanye, and all those top level artists like that have such amazing production, is because they go back in once the song is already done and start working on stuff, building little bridge sections that weren't there before. So I really just told all the producers at the camp to add anything they heard. Crazy Mike Dean synth outro, a breakdown, a B section of the drums, delete
repeating sounds, whatever they heard to the song, I wanted everyone to get their ideas out, and I would go in with Drew and fix stuff up later. Anyways, we had more big producers pull up while we were working on those songs, including a fucking legend, my guy S1, who produced Power by Kanye West, Murder to Excellence by Jay-Z and Kanye, Guilt Trip by Kanye, records for Eminem, and the fact that the dude who made all these legendary songs was just there in the flesh, talking to all these upcoming producers was super, super dope. I think one of the coolest moments when S1 pulled up that day was when he worked with my boy O, who's only 16 years old and has only been producing for 1 year, and he got to work in person with S1, and they made a beat together, and right in front of him, in front of everyone at the camp, S1 texted that beat to J. Cole, which is just crazy that this kind of stuff can be happening just one room away from you whenever you're at these camps. Overall, it was just super cool to have him there and tell stories about working on these iconic albums and work with all these up and coming producers who don't have these huge Kanye West kind of credits. Funny enough, I also had my boy Cooper pull up, who worked on the engineering and mixing of Gold Digger by Kanye West. It was kind of funny that they were both in the same room at the same time. He brought a super talented guitarist with him named Mark Dollar. He's done songs with people like Lana Del Rey and a bunch of other huge artists, and it was super good vibes with both of those guys. I also had my boy Ayo Sim pull up, and he's one of my closest friends in this producer shit, so it's always dope to link up with him in person. And he actually went crazy cooking up some fire ass shit using the synths in one of the setups.
Man, it's hard, but it's like I fix on the notes type shit.
Shortly after all the producers pulled up, my boy Clutch Frenchie hit me up and told me that him and YTB Fat wanted to pull up to the camp as well. And at first, he wasn't really in the mood to record. I think he was just chilling. And again, I just kind of got reinforced this lesson that sometimes you just got to let things happen organically whenever you're working with artists. And eventually, he went outside and walked outside where my boy Triple P and the guitarist Mark that I was talking about were just cooking up some stuff for themselves. And Fat just heard what they were doing with the guitar and stuff outside. And he just went out there and we set up a mic and he just started recording out there.
Begging me like a pair of jeans. I stay them boys hanging me like a I pay them boys to stay on the back of me like a pair of jeans.
Anyways, a bit after that, my boy Dizzy Wright pulled up, who I'm actually dropping an album with soon. Maybe by the time this video is out, the album's already out. It's called Soul Searching, and I've never actually met him in person, so it was super dope to finally meet him in person and be able to talk face to face and chill. But as soon as he came in, he was talking about how he's working on a new album that's like some acoustic vibes and all that. Instantly, a light went off in my head. I was like, I need to put you in a room with that guitarist that just came and my boy Z1 who played the flute. So I went and found a different room in the house for them to go cook up, and they made some shit.
Hell yeah, you guys are fucking
little bit later, Clutch told me that his cousin Trell Gatto wanted to pull up. It didn't click right away. The name sounded familiar, but I realized later that night that he produced one of my all-time favorite Future songs, Posted with Demons. My boy Jay Rich, who's Offset's engineer, also pulled up, and it was super dope to meet him in person. Shout out Woot for bringing him through. And I thought it was sick. He even let some of the guys who came to the camp come to his studio the next day to play beats for him and stuff, because he's working with Offset all the time. And a few guys actually stayed extra time after the camp and are still in Atlanta right now as I'm recording this. And last night they got to pull up to Jay Rich's studio again, and they ended up working with YK Osiris. And something else super crazy that happened is my boy Fly Dutch, who is the photographer and videographer for the camp, also knows how to engineer. And when YTB Fat had to leave because he had a different studio session to go to, him and his boys were asking if we had anyone who knew how to engineer. And I knew that Fly Dutch would do a good job engineering for them. So I kind of made the connection for them. And then Fly Dutch got to go off with them for the night. And he actually ended up meeting Lil Baby and Ryla Rodriguez in the studio. And he was in the studio with Fat and all them until about 4 p.m. the next day, which is crazy. I genuinely believe if you're super talented and you're good at talking to people as a producer, going to producer events like this, camps, or even just traveling on your own in person to these big cities, if you have a few connections in the city, can be so beneficial, because all it takes is meeting the right person to change everything. But anyways, shortly after Fat left, everyone kind of dipped out of the Modern House and we all went back to the White House to cook up for the night. And my boys Juke Wong and Kai Going Crazy pulled up together. My boy Juke Wong has songs with people like Young Thug, Lil Baby, Travis Scott, Future, and a ton more. My boy Kai did In a Minute by Lil Baby, a bunch of songs for Ryla Rodriguez, NBA Youngboy, No Cap, Meg The Stallion, and recently he just had 11 songs drop on YFN Lucci's new album. I've been wanting to meet both of them in person, so it was super dope that they came through. We didn't even cook up. They didn't open up a laptop or anything the entire time that they were there. We really just had a conversation for like 15-20 minutes, and then they had to dip out somewhere else. But even just meeting someone face to face and talking and having like a 10-minute conversation can be super productive. My guys at Younger Next Life also pulled up as well, and my boy Chris from Beat Demons came through as well. Anyways, we kept cooking up all night, and I actually ended up cooking up a beat with Leo's son, Joyner's main producer, Concept P, and my boy Quincy, and we ended up cooking up this crazy beat with orchestral stuff and a bunch of totally overdone synth leads using all the analog synths. But Leo ended up sending it to Joyner, and Joyner asked for the stems to it, so fingers crossed we got a Joyner cut coming from that as well. And at this point I was like, bro, this camp has been super productive, and who knows how many songs are going to come as a result of all these people connecting and getting to know each other at this camp. But anyways, it's time to get into the last day, day 5. Today was a more chill day for sure at the camp. We had to pack up all the synth setups and all that kind of stuff so that we had it ready to leave by the next morning. We had to be out of the Airbnb in the morning. And we had a studio session with everyone from the camp at night. So we just chilled and did some more post-production on a Doughboy record, just trying to add everyone who hadn't worked on one of the songs yet onto the records. And we also had my boy Woot from BeatStars pull back up as well. And this day we did a class where we talked about BeatStars publishing and how to collect your royalties as a music producer. This is something that I've been doing at pretty much every one of my camps now. So BeatStars always comes through and brings someone to drop some knowledge on everyone from the camp.
Yeah, so I guess first thing, why should a producer sign to a publisher?
It's important to get with the publisher because we give you access to collect all your royalties. There's over 200 societies worldwide, right?
What do you think is one of the biggest mistakes you see producers making when it comes to collecting publishing?
I would say signing contracts without fully understanding the terms, doing buyouts. Please never do a buyout. Register your songs, don't wait.
Real quick before we get into the rest of this day, I just wanted to thank BeatStars for sponsoring this event. And speaking of BeatStars, I'm personally signed with BeatStars Publishing, and I couldn't recommend it anymore. I love working with the team over there. They've done a great job at collecting all of my royalties and fighting for me to get terms that I need on my songs with their lawyers and all that kind of stuff. So if you've been looking for a platform to help you collect all of your publishing royalties, definitely click the second link in the description to check out BeatStars Publishing. And again, big thanks to them for covering some of the expenses on this camp, and big thanks to Woot for coming out, giving a bunch of knowledge on collecting royalties, signing co-pub deals, and all that good stuff. Anyways, for the night, like I had mentioned earlier, we had a studio session. For this studio, we booked 3 rooms at Tree Sound Studios, which is one of, if not the most legendary studios in Atlanta. And I mean, if you just look at this wall right when you walk in of all the plaques, it is insane. And like I had mentioned way earlier in this video, studio. My boy Houston, who lent us all the synths for the camp, actually helped build the original Tree Sound Studios from zero. And he kind of walked me around and showed me all the cool Easter eggs of the studio, like a piano that he originally had at his parents' house that ended up being used on Coldplay records by Chris Martin. He would point to rooms where Whitney Houston had recorded in. It feels like you're in like a music museum, but you're able to actually work in it. But other than just being inspired by all the crazy big studio gear, the big console, I think one of the most important reasons that I like to bring these up and coming producers to the studio is so that they can get a bunch of content of them in a big studio, pictures for Instagram and all this kind of stuff. So me, Jan, and Fly Dutch, the videographers and photographers, are always just trying to get a bunch of content of everyone so everyone can kind of leverage coming to the camp and build off of that so they can network online easier in the future. So starting at about 8 p.m., we got to the studio and we all just started cooking up and vibing out. Bro, we're cooking up some. Y'all, you guys are missing the real cook up. We're in here stomping, whistling and shit. Play this. That night was super fun and super chill. Everyone was just cooking up. There was no dramatic artists pulling up and people trying to send beats and all this kind of stuff. But once we wrapped up that session, it was pretty much it for the camp. We just had to go back to the houses, get some sleep, and leave the next morning. And I gotta say, out of all the camps that I've run, this was easily the craziest camp. We ended up crushing that goal of getting around 30 producers their first major placements with artists like Doughboy and Lil Got It. There was also so many big producer connections that came through. There was someone in those houses on whatever day it was that's working with one of your favorite artists. And even though I know a lot of the people personally, because, you know, I'm inviting most of them out to the house, there's a lot of guys that, you know, maybe Drew invited that I didn't know personally until we met in person there. So I end up getting to network a ton at these events too. Make sure you go up and just talk to everyone because you never know who people are. I was talking to everyone who came to the camp at the end and they were all talking about how they have so many connections that they don't even know what to do. Like they have so many new phone numbers, they don't even know how to attack everything yet. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this one, but before this video is over, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone who came to the camp, the big industry guests that came through, Lil Got It and Doughboy for pulling up, my boy Dizzy Wright, all the up and coming guys who came to the camp as well. I've linked everyone's Instagrams down in the description down below, so go give everyone a follow. It's a lot of people, so good luck. But for real, without all y'all coming through, the week would be nothing like it is. So I really appreciate you guys coming through, and I appreciate everyone else for watching, but that's all for me. Peace.